Iranian perspective on atrocities that are being committed in Syria right now, do they have a point?
No, I think it's absolutely ridiculous, the claim that your Iranian guest is making. I think that the record is clear that Iran, Russia, and Assad have a long history of war crimes, crimes against humanity, wanton massacre of hundreds of thousands of Syrians, whether it be in Aleppo or Ghouta or Douma, or any of a number of sites that they have ethnically cleansed or just murdered men, women, and children. You know, your Iranian guest can cite all the discredited sources he wants, but I think the civilized world recognizes that the evidence is clear. What they're less unanimous about and decisive about is what kind of action is needed to deter rogue regimes like Iran and Syria and Russia from perpetuating these kinds of crimes.
Okay, so and Mohammed Marandi, you can respond to him throughout the course of the discussion, right? I don't want to kind of get bogged down into the sort of tit for tat about Douma, right? But let me ask you, Matthew Breiser, the fact that you have all these power brokers here, and the Iranians and the Russians and the Syrians have a lot of the power in Syria right now with the momentum of the war. And you have these situations where it's difficult to have an objective reality in terms of what has actually happened, no matter how many sources there are, no matter how much evidence there is. What does this say about the current divide, with Syria as the sort of litmus test of that divide?
Yeah, it's a great question. It is a great litmus test of the divide among the great powers. I mean, with Russia and Iran on one side, with the United States on the other, and Turkey trying to figure out where it fits in.
Who should Turkey choose, by the way?
Well, I'm an American former official, and I live here, so of course I think it should choose the United States. But seriously, I mean, Turkey is a NATO member with the second largest army in NATO. In my own conversations with very senior Turkish officials, it's clear they don't want to be left alone in the Middle East with Iran and Russia. They fought more wars against Russia than any other country throughout Turkish history, going to the Ottoman period, and the rivalry between Iran and Turkey is also centuries old.
Right. Okay, so Mehrdad Khonsari, let me ask you about the claim of Iranian imperialism in the region. So we have the Saudis, we have the Israelis, we have the Americans and others saying Iran is expansionist, what it's doing in Syria, it's doing in Lebanon, it might be doing with the Houthis in Yemen, and so forth. The Iranians need to be stopped, and that's why we need to take a hard line against them, tear up the nuclear deal. We can't mollycoddle this regime. Your response to that?
Well, I think that is a claim that is being made all along, but does Iran have legitimate interest in the region? Should Iran be able to exert itself in a way that is commensurate to its weight and position in the region? If the United States, for example, from thousands of miles away wants to impose itself in the Syrian situation, why shouldn't Iran? I don't think that that is the way to look at the equation, because that will just, result in accusations coming from both sides. The fact is that Iran is a regional superpower. It has always been a regional superpower. It has legitimate interests in the region. It has a right to try and protect its legitimate interests. It doesn't have to do obnoxious things in order to do that. But I think that argument should be looked at from that perspective.
Okay, so Adam Merrily, Iran's a regional superpower. You have to engage with it. It's there, whether you like it or not. Why are you getting John Bolton on board to try and, I don't know, rub them up the wrong way now?
Well, first of all, I didn't choose John Bolton. That was the president's decision. Second of all, I think that no one denies that Iran is a regional power and should have good, positive relations with the regional states. Look, its size, its geography, its history would argue that Iran should be accepted as a responsible player in the region. Unfortunately, its record of interference, of destabilization, of funding and supporting forces that that intend to or want to overthrow the legitimate governments of the region has caused not just the United States, and this is important to point out, but the states of the region to distrust Iran and to seek U.S. protection against Iran, whether it be in Bahrain or the UAE or Saudi Arabia.
Okay, so Mohammed Marandi,
you know, it's not the United States imposing its will.
Okay, Sandy, let's ask Mohammed Marandi.
The United States responding to the insecurity that Iran has started.
Let's ask the man to my left. So, Iran, you